All right, and we are back with episode 27 of Modern Prescription. My name is Dr. Deepak Dukar.
And I'm Dr. Jeff Toll.
And today we're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff. Covering the vaccine, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Talk a little about this mysterious illness in India.
Scary.
Talk about Pfizer stock, Moderna stock.
Yep.
Talking about The Surgeon's Cut, this great show on Netflix that I saw. I got to talk about it. It's so cool.
You're really hyped on this.
I'm super hyped about it. As a surgeon especially. It's just cool. It's like it's like our own superhero show. It was really cool. I can't wait to talk about it. What else are we talking about? Today's going to be good. We're going to talk about a little bit about stevia and sugar and how it may not be as good for you as we thought.
I'm anti-stevia. I'll explain why.
Yeah, let's get into it because a lot of people use stevia. How many? I mean, probably 1 billion people in the world use fake sugars.
Definitely.
Fake sweeteners. And it's not nearly, and the reasons it's not good for you is not what you're thinking. It's not as obvious as you're thinking.
But I'll explain.
Yeah. All right. Stay tuned, guys. Great episode coming up. All right. We are back. It's episode 27.
We're really doing it.
We're hanging in. I like this.
These
I'm
numbers
glad.
are climbing. People are sharing. Continue to do that, but they're sharing.
Yeah, we're committed.
We appreciate it.
We're committed. We're going to be here till episode 1,000, like we said.
1,000 episodes. We're going to be old. We're going to be retired. Let's go 10,000 episodes.
We'll be at the point we'll do one a day. We have nothing to do. Oh, man. What's going on with the vaccine? It looks like it's here. It's like real now.
It's finally approved and things are moving. And so what's interesting and a little bit mysterious still is that the federal government has essentially deferred deciding what's going on with the vaccine to each state. So the governors are really the deciders here.
On who gets it first, like the priorities.
Who gets it first, et cetera. So the general consensus in most states is that the very first prioritized people, and it makes sense, are going to be around nursing homes. So both the residents of and the medical, people that work inside of the nursing homes. There's also some talk of direct to, at least in California, in each county, it's going to go to sort of like the biggest medical center, and they're going to be vaccinating some of their ICU nurses and doctors that are exposed on the most frequent basis. And then it's very nebulous. So if you're over 65, if you have medical problems, there's this vague thing of we're going to get the vaccine to people at risk.
Right.
But there is no clear explanation path.
Right.
There is no distribution plan that I'm aware of.
Are you getting phone calls at your practice? Are people starting to ask?
Yeah, everyone's asking. Everyone's interested. My general thing is, I think, as we just saw when the vaccine was rolled out in England, there's already some severe allergic cases. So people with severe allergies have to be very careful. So, it may be worth, if you're at the super risk or if you're in a nursing home, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
No-brainer, yeah.
The benefit outweighs the risk. And that's
you were saying almost half the deaths in this country are from nursing homes.
Yeah, so, of all the deaths from COVID-19, which is now, unfortunately, over 200,000, I don't know I don't watch the ticker every day, but it's,
270-ish,
unbelievable, maybe closer to 300 now.
Yeah.
More than half are actually people who are in nursing homes.
Wow. So if we can just protect them, we could cut this in half.
If all we did was vaccinate all the nursing homes, we would be, and there's like 16 million confirmed cases of COVID and only, it would be like down to 100,000 for 16 million, which would be
much better.
Obviously.
Much better.
So it wouldn't end the pandemic per se, but it would at least decrease the amount of deaths significantly, we think. So obviously that would be good news. Unfortunately, I guess the government didn't buy enough vaccines because they were put in this, in their only defense is they were put in this difficult position where they were going to have to buy doses that had of a vaccine that were not necessarily not only not made yet, but not even shown to be safe and effective yet.
Right.
And so they were going to have to buy. So they bought 30 million doses, betting that Pfizer would figure it out, let's say.
But did they buy some Pfizer, some Moderna,
Yes.
some? So that's the other problem is they're hedging their bets.
They hedged their bets, which made sense to some degree, unless, you sort of like bet the farm a little more on each of them because it was going to get us out of this giant economic problem. So you could have saved, long term, it would have saved money by being able to end the pandemic and reopen things.
What's the third vaccine? So Pfizer, Moderna, and what's the other one?
There's a few others in the pipeline. Some of them have issues, like the AstraZeneca one.
AstraZeneca, yeah.
AstraZeneca one was given in a few other countries, and there were some cases of transverse myelitis that they thought may have been from the vaccine.
Got it. So that one's not going to be coming out for a while.
We're not
here.
sure. I haven't heard anything about it coming out in the U.S. The Pfizer one, Pfizer is a massive company. They've done vaccines in the past, so they were a safer bet, I think, and that's why the government gave them money to. Before, the Moderna one seems like it's the easiest to distribute because it doesn't have that issue with the
needing dry ice,
and all this stuff.
The Pfizer, the dry ice thing's so interesting. I was watching on the news; they were talking about how dry ice companies are like booming because they've never been busier in their lives. Because
they used to just sell ice cream trucks.
I know, and like cocktail parties, like for the smoke to come out, like that. That's the last bizarre bar. But now, dry ice has become like the hugest commodity because you can't have the vaccine transported without it. And so it's absolutely crazy how the business niches keep changing with the vaccine.
I had read something about one idea to distribute the vaccine was going to be to send it to all the supermarket chains because they have they have the freezers.
Ah, that's interesting. Like the industrial size freezers probably.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be the healthcare workers at
the
nursing homes and nursing home patients first. It's going to be healthcare workers from some hospitals next. And then the big question is, how does the government or, a hospital decide what patient gets it first? This is very un-American in that sense.
Let's say you got it. You're a private practice doctor. Let's say they gave you 500 vaccines right now. How would you distribute them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, ethically, I think what doctors should do is think about which ones of their patients have been hospitalized in the last couple of years, which one of their patients is the most at risk. But again, it's really not fair. It's still the doctor then deciding, who has this potentially life-saving thing or not. So Medicare knows how many people over 65 that you take care of because you're at least as the primary doctor, they know that you're the primary of X amount of people. So theoretically, they could distribute it that way and say everyone Medicare over 65, let's say, you get X amount of vaccines.
Because anyone over 65 in America has Medicare.
They're eligible for Medicare.
Eligible, okay. Yeah. The only reason they wouldn't use it is because
they still have private insurance. They still work.
Got it. Okay.
And they still pay for Medicare.
Got it.
They have,
so that wouldn't cover everyone, but it'd cover a lot.
It would cover a lot, but nothing would stop an unethical doctor, let's say, from giving it to some of their Medicare patients and then selling some of the other ones.
Of course, to like concierge VIP, like we
or just selling them.
Just pure selling it, right? Yeah, because on group chat they were talking about like billionaire patient friends of theirs.
I have had patients offer a lot of money if I get them a vaccine.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. That's wild.
They and some more explicitly, and some being like, "Doc, just so you know, I'm willing to pay a lot for these vaccines."
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so. It's and that, normally that's in America, that's normal. But when it's not medical, there's a supply and demand and that's normal. But this is, I think, hopefully the doctors out there will be ethical about delivering it to people who would be saved. I have patients in their 90s who have been hospitalized for heart failure 3 times this year. And if they got COVID, they're dead, and potentially save their life or extend their life.
Which is way more valuable than giving it to the rich young guy.
Yeah, because the thing is, as we've gone over many times, when you're young and otherwise healthy, your risk from COVID is actually pretty low.
Right, of death from COVID,
Of death, or even really major comorbidity from COVID.
Totally.
If you're young and healthy. So, hopefully this is figured out, but I think it's going to, I think the more likely thing is it's going to be like the PPP, which is to say, they're going to get it out fast. It'll be messy. There will be abuse and fraud, but it'll overall benefit society.
And eventually, hopefully, it trickles down to everyone getting it in the next 6 to 12 months.
I think, 12 months sounds about right.
Yeah.
The interesting question is, if other countries do or don't vaccinate, then are we going to have restrictions on travel? Are we going to need PCR tests and quarantines from certain countries that don't do the vaccine? Are we going to be the one that gets, because, I've read things where 40 to 50% of American people will refuse the vaccine.
Which is
so are we going to be the country where, England or Germany
doesn't want
vaccinates everyone, and then they say, okay, Americans
are not allowed,
can't come in without a valid PCR negative test or a vaccination card or whatever.
Well, to the people who don't think that they're going to get the vaccine or don't want to get the vaccine, the one thing that I want to make very clear is that, because everyone's worried about this vaccine was rushed and this, 90 to 95% of most vaccines are the exact same. Like, it's just remodeling and recopying of a carrier that you're going to put into the body. And so the only thing that gets changed in a lot of vaccines is just what the molecule that's being carried. And so this time they're putting a piece of the mRNA of the virus into this carrier, which has standardized ingredients that we use in a lot of vaccines. So it's not like they're recreating an entire vaccine. What they're trying to do is create a carrier to place the mRNA in. The carrier ingredients are very similar in a lot of vaccines. The mRNA itself, though, you're going to get it anyways if you were to get COVID. So it's like people's concern
my hope is that we give it to the at-risk people where clearly the benefit outweighs the risk. And then once we have months of data of those people getting the vaccine
and showing low
more
risk
safety record, by the time the vaccine's actually ready for these other people who are saying, I'm not going to take it, now that'll be 6 months from now.
They'll have more confidence.
More data is out, more confidence. And I'm hopeful that they will also realize for themselves that the benefit outweighs the risk. Because there's a benefit to them personally, and then there's also a societal benefit of
herd immunity.
Immunity and opening up the economy and everyone like working again and not being in this state. And so there's...
And a couple of other things that I see online, people are talking about, oh, I don't want to get the vaccine. It's such a hoax because you have to get the vaccine and then you still have to wear a mask and still have to social distance. Of course, because the whole point of the vaccine is it's not that it guarantees that you're not going to be a carrier and you can't still pass it and spread it. So until we have herd immunity across the country, social distancing and wearing masks is not going away. So despite getting the vaccine, it's not like you get the vaccine and the minute you get it, you now can run around on the streets naked. Like, you still have to protect yourself.
I think the thing is that their risk would drop dramatically.
Of getting it themselves.
Of getting it,
but
or
not
being
of
sick.
not of potentially spreading it. We don't know yet.
No one knows.
Unknown. And so that's the one thing. So a lot of these myths people are having, that don't want to get the vaccine because it's been rushed. Okay, not really. Technically, carriers are the same. It's just replacing mRNA.
I think the people who are scared enough, that are at risk enough, will get it.
And like you said, that'll convince everyone else with data of showing the low side effects, hopefully, that they have. I think that's a great way, and I think that'll convince a lot of people over time. Would you get the vaccine the day it's available for yourself?
So I had COVID and have probably been re-exposed probably many times seeing patients. So I check my antibodies frequently and I have them. So I would take it. I think it would be better saved to give to someone in the high risk group.
Right, but you yourself wouldn't be scared to get it.
I'm not scared to take it. I think it would be a waste of a vaccine because I already have immunity to it.
Right.
At least at the moment, and if there were enough vaccines for everyone, I would take it.
Yeah, once it's available like a flu vaccine.
Yes.
Yeah, and everyone can get it. You just call CVS and go get it. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, same. I would get the vaccine the minute it's available for me. I have no fear at all.
Yeah.
I think a lot of, even my doctor friends, a lot of them are like, oh, I wouldn't get it initially. I would wait 6 to 12 months. And I think they're just perpetuating this nonsensical fear of the vaccine side effects, which are likely going to be very low.
And we're going to, like I said, I think the most important point being by the time it's available for most people, we're going to know a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. Great point. And also other countries have started early. Like UK is already vaccinating. So we're going to get data from them.
They've had some allergic reactions. So people with allergies had like really bad allergic reaction, needed EpiPen and stuff like that. No inflammatory type of or bad reaction, like a systemic reaction.
And right now, FDA approval is for 16 and older and not for pregnant people. So they haven't done any. They're just now starting their first trial on pregnant women, and so that'll be interesting to see what the data shows on that. I'm sure it'll be safe too, but right now it's not for pregnant people and not for anyone under 16. So really interesting, really cool stuff.
Yeah. And again, the under 16s and the pregnant people are not in the first round of candidates anyway. So again, that won't really affect.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like maternally, like with pregnant women, we're not seeing crazy stuff happening. So I think there might be some protection or something between the placental barrier, like, whatever's
happening to the fetus.
To the fetus, because otherwise, that would be all over the news. Like that would be
like
front page.
Like Zika kind of thing.
Yes, like Zika type stuff. Exactly. We're not seeing that. We're not hearing about that. So that's one God bless thing. One thankful thing.
I think there's a mild increased risk to the pregnant woman, but when you actually look at the data, so it like doubles your risk of, things like gestational hypertension, some other things.
Gestational diabetes, things like
but
that. Yeah.
The thing is, the actual change is like minimal. It's like 1 more out of 10,000, but like it doesn't. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, I saw a crazy stat that they're saying 330,000 healthcare workers are pregnant. So they're saying that's where it gets a little tricky because there's going to be 330,000 healthcare workers in America who are not going to get vaccinated and still taking care of these patients.
Wow.
And so they're saying that's a little bit of the But again, like you said,
can you imagine
this would be a 12-month period.
The crazy thing is these heroes, these nurses and stuff that are pregnant, that are
still going to work every day, working in the ICU, knowing that they're around COVID patients.
Crazy.
Yeah, they don't get enough credit.
I know.
The frontline health workers do not get enough credit for what they're doing.
I think the nurses and like the nurse assistants in the hospital that are actually like in the room, because I go in the room in full PPE and examine the patient. I'm in the room for 9 minutes.
Yes,
they're like in there helping them eat, helping them with their nasal cannula, like exposed to everything.
Right. And they don't get paid the way a doctor gets paid. So God bless them. It's amazing the commitment people have showed to their craft, which will take me to the segue of this show on Netflix that I urge everyone to check out. It's called The Surgeon's Cut. It's so cool. It's 4-episode docuseries.
You have a huge smile just talking about it.
I love this kind of stuff. It's such a cool docuseries. 4 episodes. Okay. Each episode's about a different surgeon in a different part of the world in a different specialty. So one's a fetal specialist, like before the baby's born, if they need surgery.
Oh my God.
Like in utero type surgery stuff. One episode is about a brain surgeon. One episode is about a heart surgeon in India who does like fetal and childhood heart surgeries, but also does like adult, like crazy stuff like pulmonary endarterectomies, where they're taking blood clots out of the pulmonary vessels, like really complicated stuff that the risk of death is like 20 to 30% of just doing the procedure. And then one episode's about a American surgeon who is a female pioneer in liver transplant surgery. And she does one of the highest rates of liver transplant cases at UCSF. But it's amazing, super inspiring, and it's cool to see how dedicated these people are to their craft and how like they truly look at themselves as like here doing God's work, like the vessel of God doing God's work, instead of having like the surgeon's ego that a lot of people think about.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Are you going to apply for season 2?
No. I'm not going to apply for season 2, but it does give me a lot of inspiration and hope to see these stories being told because, long term, that's my goal too, to tell these kind of stories. And it was done so beautifully and it just depicts medicine in such a cool, heroic way. Because I think COVID did give a huge value back to medicine. I feel like the past 10-ish years, me and you as young doctors definitely saw a little bit of decline in interest where everyone's like, why would you be a doctor? Why would you go to medicine? And now there's definitely an uptick in interest.
Totally.
Medical school applications are the highest ever in the past 25 years right now. 180% increase in applications this year alone.
Interesting. I've had a lot of people reach out, DM, email, who are, in college, interested in medicine, reach out to, can I shadow you?
Yes.
Can you what should I go to med school?
Yeah. I think it's bad. I think healthcare, because I think everyone wants to find a purpose in their craft, not just make money. And I think everyone found a very deep purpose in helping and caring for other humans. And medicine's definitely on the uptick. So Surgeon's Cut. If you're interested in medicine or you think about medicine ever, amazing show on Netflix. Highly recommend. So let's talk about a little bit about the gut stuff we were talking about with Stevia earlier. So tell me your take on Stevia and fake sugars.
So I'm not a big fake sugar, any other sweeteners person. So even like people who drink diet soda. So when you drink any fake sugar, there's 2 things that happen that I don't like. Number one is your brain is still craving the sweet taste. And when you have sweet, you get a reward, a dopamine little boost. You feel good. You got a little reward. You got a little sugar. But it teaches you that you still want sweet and you still crave sweet.
Right.
And so you may have a Diet Coke this time, but you're still thinking about wanting sweets.
Right.
And then you're going to end up eating sweets, and then you're going to end up in the same boat that you're in. You've gotten off soda.
Right.
So what I would tell people is you got to switch from soda to bubbly water or something that has no sweetener in it. And it's going to be very difficult for the first 2-3 weeks. You may be irritable. You may be craving. You may, whatever. But then your palate actually kind of constitutes itself.
Yeah,
and
recalibrates. Yeah,
recalibrates. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a blueberry, a raspberry, that's so sweet.
Versus sour. Yeah.
But when you drink a Coca-Cola and eat, if you try this right now, if you drink a Coca-Cola and try to eat some raspberries with the Coca-Cola, those raspberries will be sour and acidic and terrible.
Yes.
But if you are drinking water and eating raspberries, all of a sudden those are nice, sweet raspberries.
Such a good point.
And so when you take in a little bit of sugar, you also get the vitamins and the benefits and the antioxidants and all the other phytochemicals that are in the
blueberry,
in
the fruits. Yeah, the fruits where you get natural sugars. Yes.
Right.
Versus the sweeteners.
And
the sweeteners
amla, for example.
Or an amla, yeah, of course. Amla is one of the best antioxidant fruits in the world.
Yeah.
Dr. Kanodia's famous amla skincare brand. It's amazing. Highest antioxidant values in the world. But with the fruits and with the sugars, stevia and these things they're chemically altered to be sweeter than regular sugar.
Right.
And that's where I think they really mess with our brains because, like you said, they've tricked us into thinking that that's what normal sweet is when that's not normal. That is bizarrely sweet.
Yes.
Like absolutely off the chart sweet.
And furthermore, we can't digest it. And so it goes into the GI tract and then some gut bacteria may or may not be able to digest it.
Right.
In which case they produce, they break it down into alcohols or some other thing that they can break it down into.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden we have gut bacteria problems. We have more gas. We feel bloated.
Inflammation. Yeah. That's what the studies are showing. A lot of inflammation in the gut
Leaky
from stevia.
gut type of stuff.
Yeah. Which is crazy because we just think of it as like, maybe it's psychologically addicting you to sugar, but it's causing physical changes in our body.
Yeah, no, it's not good for you in any way.
Yeah. So modern prescription.
And it really does.
No
the
stevia.
palate, adjusts. You gotta give it a few weeks, maybe months.
Right.
But it really does.
Right, to recalibrate. One thing that I started doing, because I used to love sweet drinks, we got into the habit of filling up water jugs with fruit.
Yeah.
And then just pouring water in it.
Yeah.
And then if you give it like 1 or 2 days, all the sugar, natural sugars and phytochemicals, everything gets extracted into the water. And the water's sweet enough that it gives you that juice taste, but it's not so sweet that it takes over the palate and makes you it keeps you on that calmness.
And that's much healthier than, for example, for children, giving them like apple juice and orange juice, which are just like filled with sugar. It's
fake
crazy.
Sugars.
If you look at the box, if someone actually, I tell this to my patients all the time, diabetic or otherwise, read the back of the box and see how many grams of sugar it is.
Right.
And I want you to take either a bowl or a glass, and every time you measure out that much actual sugar.
That's great.
And I want you to pour one thing into the glass.
Wow.
And at the end of the week, they can see with their eyes,
how much
if
sugar.
I had ate 1 gram and they compare it to what they're putting in, and then they can see what they're doing. And all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I can't believe. For years I was drinking that many Cokes.
Right.
Which is like spoonful after spoonful after spoonful of sugar, just one,
Right. So. Which is crazy because they put sugar in things that I never even realized when I was younger that the sugar is in. Like bread has so much sugar in it.
Everything
to make it
has
a little
high
sweet.
fructose corn syrup.
Right, right. But they do this because it psychologically induces us to want it more.
Yes.
Like Wonder Bread has a ton of sugar in it. And so now as we're older, we get whole grain bread that comes from a bakery and it's baked organically and doesn't have sugar in it. You can taste the difference. Like, this one is addicting and this one's not.
Yes.
You can have a slice of this and feel full. That one you need 6 slices and yet you still feel like you're not hungry. You still feel hungry.
It's like bleached and they take out all the good part of it.
Yeah, just to make it pretty.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways we're all realizing our food was bad, the earth was getting poisoned.
Yeah.
The world, I think, it's a reckoning time that I think this is a chance for us to turn everything around. And I think, you were talking about this, what's going on in India. Which
500 people with a mysterious illness, all tested negative for COVID. Symptoms like nausea, fevers, stomach upset, loss of consciousness. So some weird mental symptoms.
Neurologic symptoms.
Yeah, neurologic symptoms. And 500 of them, no clue what's happening. They're all in the same localized area, all COVID negative. And then what they started doing is mass testing. And then what they found is trace nickel and heavy metals in their blood on some of them. And so the question is there some sort of leaky pipe or something where now it's leaching into the water supply and they're all drinking something from a common well or something that's making them all sick. And but it goes back to contaminating our bodies.
Yeah.
And they're doing theirs, unfortunately, by accident. we in America do it on purpose.
Well,
we actively eat the stuff that we know is not good for us.
Well, that too. We also environmentally, are doing the same type of thing like we were seeing in Flint, Michigan with the water there. And it took forever to get that cleaned up. And I think
still not.
I think, there's probably many examples of this, and even, the regular tap water potentially in major cities. I don't know, they have what they say is safe amounts,
right?
But based on, I don't know what that's based on necessarily. So we're definitely seeing an increase of, cancers and inflammatory conditions, autoimmune conditions, especially cancers in younger people. And very likely there's some environmental component that's not clearly defined.
Right, because we just haven't been able to study it enough.
Well, and it's probably it's probably not.
Yes, singular, yes.
It's like the nickel's a little higher and this is a little higher and this is a little higher.
So which one was it? Yeah.
And then that combination makes you 7% more likely to have a DNA problem and then that leads to cancer. You can't, it's impossible to blame, when it's an obvious there's a leak of oil, there's a leak of this, we can say it. But when there's when everything is slightly less safe than it used to be, you'll see an increased incidence of everything without a specific pattern.
Exactly, without the pattern. That's where it's hard for us as a society to say, hey, stop that oil spill. Right now, it's just so pervasive that what are we supposed to do? Stop every industry?
And there's no Google that benefits from figuring this out.
Yeah.
And so there's no way to monetize figuring out what the problem environmentally is.
Right.
So no one's going to do it.
Right.
If it was how to sell a few more gloves on Amazon and masks, they would have
figured out.
They would have the data to figure it out.
Right. It's about getting that institutionalized money to push purposes and push
agendas. The
agendas.
government is, decades behind private companies in terms of data.
Yeah.
They don't have they have some data that they do, with on security type of issues, but in terms of this safe, like outward security, because they, foreign government and spying and whatever else they're spying on us and whatever they're doing. But I think just like these kind of low level things like this, they're not spending the resources.
Right. And I think Flint, Michigan is a great example because that was one of the times where it came to a head.
Yeah.
And where it could not be ignored.
Obvious.
Yes. It was like the oil spill.
And their water looked brown. Like imagine if the water looked white. Clear.
Right.
If the water looked clear, would anyone have ever figured it out?
Right. And people would be sick still to today without any improvement.
Could be.
Yeah, it's huge. And then let's go over our beauty tip of the day. So
how are you making me pretty this week?
So today, the beauty tip of the day, it's going to be a facetious one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's olive oil.
Gotcha. You're talking about Jennifer Lopez?
I'm talking about Jennifer Lopez. Yeah. So J-Lo recently just came out with her new skincare line. And everyone, of course, J-Lo is like the queen. Like to look how good she looks in her 50s. It's incredible. In her 50s to look like that, it's
halftime
nuts.
show is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Oh, yeah. That was right before COVID. That was so good.
Yeah.
And so to look like that in her 50s, everyone's asking what her secret is. And she kind of peeved off the entire cosmetic industry because she made kind of a jab. She said, I'm not that type of person that would do Botox. Meaning that people who do Botox are that type of people is what she's saying.
Right.
Whatever that means to her. So she's saying, I'm not that type of person, which was a really negative kind of jab because in today's culture of being accepting and letting people choose the way that they want to be comfortable and confident, it was just a very derogatory sentence from someone who, just to be completely fair, I've never treated Jennifer Lopez. I've been to a party of hers once, but I've never treated her. She's not a patient of mine, so I just want to make that disclaimer before I say what I'm about to say. She's definitely, in my opinion, had lots of work done. It's just, there's no way Jennifer Lopez is just olive oil. That's not just olive oil.
I will say this.
Professional opinion.
I know less about cosmetics. I'm a big sports guy.
Yeah.
And her husband, Alex Rodriguez, very, very famously was caught red-handed cheating, taking HGH and other performance enhancers throughout his baseball career, which he denied emphatically multiple times. They found the data on like the computer of the doctor that was cheating and giving all these guys stuff. There's unbelievable.
Wow.
So he for sure was taking all sorts of stuff, like at least HGH.
To enhance his performance physically. And so
but HGH keeps you young too.
Right.
So even if that's one of the things I'm not saying she's doing it.
Yeah, I don't know what she's doing.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. Absolutely, good could be. And just
But for
facial
sure.
anatomy, there's no way the facial anatomy stays that tight and rigid and with no wrinkles without some cosmetic help. So it was kind of a jab.
She's in unbelievable shape, though. You got to.
Oh yeah, that for sure. No. I give her credit for even her face.
Yeah.
Her face looks amazing. I'm not trying to say it's because of Botox. She's gifted, and naturally beautiful. But it's like the jab at the industry was just unnecessary because she's part of it. There's just no way she's not. Maybe she isn't.
She got a jab of the Botox.
Yeah, she got a jab at the Botox. But maybe it's olive oil. So
it could be
just in case
oil.
it is just olive oil.
What's the deal with olive oil?
Supposedly just has a lot of benefits to your skin and overall your natural well-being. I mean, there's literally countries that are obsessed with just olive oil, and they make it like their entire life's work to age gracefully using olive oil externally in their hair, drinking it in their food. I mean, Greek culture. Mediterranean Greek culture, it's huge. So
I think the Egyptians also had some stuff with olive oil.
Yes. So the beauty tip of the day is olive oil because it may make you look like J-Lo.
That's great. Working out 12 hours a day will help too.
That also helps. Yeah. And being one of the world's most talented humans, dancers and singers. That's funny. It's all a bonus.
That's funny. So,
great episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. Fantastic. And we're going to be back with extra special guests coming up soon. We have a cool lineup in the next few weeks, so I'm really excited.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
We have any big New Year's plans for you?
New Year's plans is no house partying, no COVID spreading events.
It's a non-COVID.
Christmas. Yeah, this is gonna be a very low key New Year's.
Do you guys get a Christmas tree and decorate?
When we were kids, we did. My parents, we are Hindu growing up, and so we're not Christian, but we used to do it just for the experience,
Yeah, we called ours a Hanukkah bush.
A Hanukkah bush. Did you guys actually put up a Christmas tree?
Yeah, it was a Christmas tree.
It was good, but you call it a Hanukkah bush. Happy Hanukkah.
Bush. Thank you.
Today's day 4, 3?
It's one of those. So my family is very non-religious, non-practicing.
Yeah.
But happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
And happy holidays to all the listeners. And we wish you a happy Kwanzaa.
Be safe out there this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Continue to share, subscribe.
This is a good one to share.
Great one to share. Learn a lot about vaccines, your gut health, and stop eating stevia.
Stop eating stevia.
And start eating olive oil.
More olive oil.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening.